Hi guys, welcome to the DevXP channel. My name is Samuel, and in the previous video we spoke about why I use Flutter for my development instead of using React Native, and one of the major reasons for that decision was the language itself, right? Because Flutter was built with Flutter uses Dart and React Native uses JavaScript and TypeScript. And one of the things that made me really stick with Flutter was the language itself, was that itself, because there's some cool features, some really cool features that has that I really wish that JavaScript had, and I believe if JavaScript had those features included with how awesome the TypeScript type system is, I would have easily gravitated towards React Native. But the major reason why I decided to move to Flutter was basically one of the major reasons was that, right? And in this video I'm just going to share some of the cool features that I found in that I really wish JavaScript would copy or TypeScript would copy. And these features make life easy for the developer, right? So now the first feature I'm going to be talking about is inline expressions. So what inline functions allows you to do is that it allows you to write control flows right inside your Dart code. So say for example, now I have this array of numbers, and what I could do is I could just say something like for final I, let me just say I in numbers, that I could just say if numbers modulus 1 is equals to 0, then write even, else odd. And when you look at this code, it's a very easy, straightforward code. Basically what you are doing is, you know how you do the structure in JavaScript? It's a similar concept, but now instead of just destructuring, with destructuring you mostly don't have control over how the array gets destructured. You just destructure and then you just press the elements in the array. But in this case now, you can create any type of loop that you want to do here. You can create a conditional, and then based on the value of numbers, this will execute. So if it's an even number, it does even. If it's an odd number, it does odd. And this is supposed to be 2, and yeah. Now when you look at this, it may look is this really necessary? Why don't you just spread it? And funny enough, that allows spreading. So if just prove it to you, so if I just do numbers, this also works. So what this allows you is to write more complex spread operators, right? So you can do your spreads in a more complex way based on certain conditions, and then this works fine. And one of the major use of this is you can use it for, by the way, you can use it for anything. So one of the places that I find this very useful is in this line of code, right, where I create a map which has the headers of the request, and I noticed something with the request. If the session ID is not present and I add a content type and an authorization, the code breaks, the server breaks. I don't know why, and the backend engineers don't seem to know why. But in this case, what I just did was I just added this null check. Normally in JavaScript now I'll have to create a new map and then do the null check and then add the headers if the session token is false, is null. But in this case I could just do something like this, and then this whole key gets added only if the session token is present. If it's not present, it doesn't get added, and it just made life so easy for me. And another place that you can use it is, imagine you have an array of children. You know how you just do object.map array.map in React? You can easily do something like you just create a for loop in Flutter, and then just loop based on how it goes. So that's one of the features that I wish that JavaScript could copy, like inline expressions. Just easily just write an expression within the object type itself, instead of having to create a different logic for whatever you're trying to achieve. So the next concept that we're going to be talking about is the idea of named constructors. And the idea of named constructors is basically you have different constructors for different things. So you have one class or one object, but that object takes different types of constructors for different use cases. So say for example, now in Typescript, you just have one constructor, which is defined with constructor, and then you pass the argument to it. But in Dart, you can have multiple constructors for one object or class, and then based on the constructor code, you get to construct how the class is created. So say for example, in this example now, before we even get there, like if you see this is like a very cool way of creating your constructor. So you don't have to pass the fields based on how they are needed. What you could just do is just pass something like this this set, and basically you can have a required field or a not required field. So you can do like this, so it means it's not required, and you can add a required in front of it. So basically this gives you something like a map, whereby you can just create, when you want to create a new instance of the constructor, you don't have to pass the argument exactly how they are. So you can just say something like title, and then you give it the title. So if you notice, you don't really have to arrange this, you can just arrange them however you want, and the instance gets created the way you want it to be, instead of having to create your own map. Because you can achieve something like this in JavaScript, like something similar, whereby not in JavaScript, in TypeScript. So you can achieve something like this in TypeScript, whereby you just create a map and then give the map a type, and then based on the type of that map, then you arrange everything accordingly. But now in TypeScript, in Dart, you could just easily do something like this, and then you pass the arguments based on how they come, instead of having to be forced on passing exactly how the function needs it. And if you want that method, you can actually achieve it again, but I don't really like that method. So this is just a normal constructor. This is how to just create this with a normal constructor. There's nothing special about this. Then there is the name constructor. This is where that starts showing its power. So in order to differentiate a method with a name constructor, you have to add the factory keyword in front of it. So the factory keyword tells it that, hey, this is a method, this is a constructor and not just a method. And then you pass in the name of the item. So you pass in the name of the class, which is service struct in this case. They give you the name of the constructor. Now this is where it comes. So this one comes from JSON and it accepts a map, and from this map it has to return an instance of that object. So we ask, why do you have to do this way? And the answer is easy. It just allows you to perform more complex computations before creating the instance of the class or the object. So in this case, you can see we have another constructor here for another different object or class, which is from JSON, which is the skillset class. So this just carries the item, which is gotten from here, which is gotten from the required skills, and then you map through it, and then you create this complex object. So now you see we are performing this complex operation here, and then we are just passing it as a field here, because this field requires this type, a list of this type, and it is not easily achieved with a normal constructor. So you have to perform these skills, this complex computation, and then you create the field instead of having to do it yourself. So this is actually really nice, and this is really straightforward, and I wish that And I wish that TypeScript have something like this, where it allows you to compute your values before creating, and then you have different constructions for different things. And one of the places that you see it again in Flutter is if you come to something like this image can have different constructors. So it can have image dot network or file or assets. All of them return one thing. But each of them has different use cases and different uses. So you can create something as beautiful as this. So this is where one of the places that you find it useful. So these are some of the features that I find useful, and there'll be more videos coming out to show you some of the cool features of that. For example, these features are just the language features. There are some features that come like exposing some APIs, like for example how to create different processes and spawn new action, or how to do how that handles files and the rest. So all of these videos are going to come up later, but this is just to give you like a kind of a brief overview of that and how some of the cool features that it implements are implemented, and some of the reasons why I like it. So please do well to support us by ordering our merch. I will leave in a link to the description. It's just basically my stack, my collection. So you just wear your favorite stack on your body and then showcase your stack, and then feel free to like, subscribe, and comment the coolest feature that makes you really like that over other languages. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.